time. It's time. It's time. It's Commissioner Cooper, and it's time for TSS Fantasy.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It's Commissioner Cooper, and it's time.
How the fuck you got me up this damn early, Jason?
It's time.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's Commissioner Cooper, and it's time for TSS Fantasy.
Yeah!
The Jester is back from Honduras with no diseases. Hallelujah. He's made it. Before we get to our intros, we wish our buddy the Juice the best tonight. Had to go in the hospital. I heard it's called bitchitis, so you might want to get that checked out, especially by one of the nurses. All right, let's get started. Let's get started with our intros. Let's welcome to the studio again, back from Honduras, COVID-free, Fred the Jester Reyes.
I am back. All my followers follow me at TSS Jester. I missed you.
Indeed. All right, and also welcome to the studio, Nick. You got flandered, Macaronis.
I sure did got Flanders this week, I'll tell you what. But yes, you can find me on Twitter at YouGotFlandered.
I called you Nick, I think, for a reason, because I can't see yours. So that was why. All right, we got a busy, there you go, that's better. All right, we got a busy show to get started with tonight. So we're going to start right away. We'll talk about last night's action with the Thursday night football game. It was a doozy. I mean, all these primetime games actually really are exciting. It's fun to see. So last night, Daniel Jones, how about Daniel Jones? 249 yards and a touchdown, but he wasn't done there. 95 yards on the ground and a TD. Wow, that came out of nowhere. He improved for sure against the Washington defense that they might just be pretenders at this point. Saquon Barkley, he's had a decent night. Looked like he was finding his groove a little bit. So I expect him to get better and better as the season goes on. He had 57 yards on the ground. It looks like he had 12 yards receiving with 2 receptions. So again, decent night. Sterling Shepard, this guy right here, man, I'm telling you, I made fun of somebody for drafting this guy, and man, I look dumb for doing that. 9 receptions, 94 yards. Didn't get in the end zone, but definitely Daniel Jones is looking for Sterling Shepard early and often. And Washington side, how about Mr. Heineke? Wow, what a great night for him. 336 yards, 2 TDs. He had an interception. Didn't run much, but didn't need to. Looks like he's got a great arm, good instincts. Antonio Gibson, kind of pedestrian night, 69 yards on the ground. I think a lot of gameplay kind of dictated that. He also had 2 receptions, but only 4 yards. Only got 4 yards with it, so didn't do much with it. A surprise of the night was J.D. McKissick. He had a great night, 10 yards rushing with the TD, and he had 83 yards with 5 receptions. So great night for J.D. McKissick as well. All right, fellas, your thoughts on the Thursday night action?
I thought it was a great game. I thought the Giants were going to win. They were going to pull it off. I'm kind of upset with their coaching staff. They make really dumb mistakes, little mistakes that just are not letting them win the game. I mean, besides the offside penalty, I don't know about Joe Judge, man. If I'm trying to win a game, I'm going to go and I'm going to try to put me up by 2 scores instead of just settling for a field goal. So maybe it's right what they say about Belichick's coaching tree. Now they don't really succeed in the NFL.
Well, Brian Flores actually is doing quite well. Nick, your thoughts, sir?
My thoughts, actually, Daniel Jones could have had more rushing yards and another touchdown if it wasn't for that holding penalty. So right now, Daniel Jones is their leading rusher. He's not doing that terrible, but don't ask Kenny Golladay that, because I'll tell you what, they got into it on the sidelines. He was a little frustrated that he wasn't getting the ball, which is, understandably because they brought him in there to receive the ball and he's not getting his touches. So
right.
again, like you just said, a lot of it's gameplay, and you can script the whole game out. But if it doesn't go according to plan, you got to be able to adjust on the fly and put points on the board any way you can. So he might just have to wait.
Yeah, agreed. And, if anyone's played sports, just because you're open one play doesn't mean you're open the next. We're all human. If he doesn't see him at certain times, not necessarily all his fault as well. So, again, it's team play. You'll get yours, bro. Just wait. It'll be that day. Right now, it's Sterling Shepard, though, is definitely ruling the roost in their receiving corps. All right, let's move on to stardom or sit 'em for week 2. I don't really have any music for it, so we'll just say stardom or sit 'em for week 2. And look at Nick; he is really ready for action right now.
No, I'm not ready for nothing. My leg.
Is he trying to show his neck?
Apparently, he's like, I do have a neck. See, I told you. All right, let's go to
my big neck.
Let's go to the quarterbacks. We have stardom Josh Allen. I just want to point him out against Miami. I'll be down there. If the internet's good, I'll do a few live shots. But it's going to be a bad day for Miami. Josh Allen owns the Dolphins. It's just one of those things. I remember when we first got our season tickets. It wasn't when we first got them, but when we first got them, Josh Allen wasn't even with the team, and I think they blew us out 42-0 at home. I remember because Mary Jane was so upset because she was pregnant, and that's how we got our good seats after that. So it was kind of cool. So anyway, so I think, again, he's an easy start. Plus, he had a bad week last week as well. Guys, let's talk about your sit-ems. Jester, who you got for your stardom?
Stardom is Jameis Winston. I'm trying to see who they play, but my internet's acting up. But
he's got him started. He doesn't know who they're playing. It's the Carolina Panthers.
No, okay,
I remember
at the
bottom. I remember. Look at the bottom always.
Okay. I put Jameis Winston. Obviously, I see what Zach Wilson did the second half of the game to Carolina. Jameis Winston played so good the first game that I think that he's going to actually continue his playing ways, and I think he's going to actually solidify himself as a starter and show that they made the right decision.
Yeah, I think he already did that, honestly, last week. I was nasty. All right, Nick, who you got for your stardom?
I got Russell Wilson at home against Tennessee. Now, last week, Wilson kind of put up decent numbers. He had 254 yards passing and 4 TDs. But Tennessee gave up 280 yards and 4 TDs. So I think that's going to continue. As Cooper says, this game could be a potential for a fantasy bonanza. So I think it's going to continue. And you know Seattle. That's a hard place to play. And I just think if they're home, it's going to be the home opener. And the 12th man is going to be roaring and rocking. So I think Wilson's is the start. And Tennessee's defense is not there yet. It's projected to be a quality potential. It's just not there yet. Sure.
All right, we'll move on to our sit-ems. All right, now I noticed Tua is in here, so fuck off, Freddie. I personally have Carson Wentz against the Rams. It looks to be the gun-shy Carson Wentz from Philly has come to Indianapolis. It's kind of what it looks like to me. Against a good Rams defense spells trouble for me. I would definitely sit Carson Wentz this week. Fred, who you got for your sit-em?
Tua. He's playing Buffalo, man. Buffalo's got a stout defense there. I mean, they lost last week to the Steelers. I think they're going to try to make up for it this week. I think Josh Allen does well. But Tua, I think when he had a good 14 of 16 last week, but he didn't show that he was that true competitor and throwing the ball around against New England. I think he has a very rough week against Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm going. So, of course, I have all these high hopes. But the back, my stomach hurts because I already know it's going to fucking happen. All right, Nick, who's your sit-em?
Jared Goff. It's Detroit going to Green Bay. I think Green Bay is going to step it up this week. Now, last week, they laid a turd. It was on national TV. They gave up 5 touchdowns, but Jameis only threw for 148 yards, and that was due to Rodgers giving New Orleans short field position. So I don't think Goff is going to be able to sustain the numbers he put up against San Francisco. In San Francisco last week, they had some key injuries on the defensive side of the ball. Both their corners are out this week. Barrett is on IR, so he's out for at least 3 weeks. So I don't think he's going to sustain the production he had last week against San Francisco.
I'll slightly disagree only because they are going to need to throw. I think you're right, though, in the sense that Green Bay is going to come back in a big way, but it's going to be an Aaron Rodgers type night. And I believe Jared Goff's going to have to throw the football, and garbage time doesn't matter in fantasy regardless. All right, let's move on to the running backs. My stardom this week, we have some good matchups. I have some questions, though, actually, about your stardoms. But I have Najee Harris versus the Raiders. Again, we've talked about, I don't know if we brought it up earlier, but this Steelers game, I mean, they're going to pretty much come out and dominate this Raider team. I think this Raider team is going to come out and look like what they should have looked like week one, to be quite frank. So I think I like Najee Harris part of their offense the entire game. Why not have him your stardom for this week? Fred, who you got for your stardom?
I got Christian McCaffrey. I talked a lot down about him at the beginning of the season. Well, before the season started, I think he was going to be the same player that he once was. And lo and behold, he ripped the Jets running and receiving. And I think he does that against New Orleans. He's the focal point. He's going to put up points. Definitely a stardom.
All right, I'm going to move on to Nick, but really quickly, your stardom defense is the Saints, though. I just want to point that out. Nick, who you got for your stardom running back?
I got Melvin Gordon because he's playing Jacksonville. Jacksonville gave up last week. They gave up 160 rushing yards and 2 TDs against Houston. So again, we were all ragging on Houston's offense. They're not going to do anything. And lo and behold, I think if I'm not correct, all 3 of the running backs scored last week. I think David Johnson scored on a receiving team.
Yes, you are correct, actually. Yes.
And Gordon, now he had 101 yards and 70 was on one run. But like Jason just said, in fantasy, it doesn't matter. So he still had 100 yards and he had a touchdown. So against Jacksonville, he should improve this week.
Yeah,
and
big play potential.
Now, a little sidebar with all the controversy with Urban Meyer skipping town, possibly going to Southern California. It's going to bring in some drama. Who knows? But it's Jacksonville.
All right. Thank you for the old man news. All right. Let's go to the sit-em portion. James Robinson is my sit-em this week. He's been on a lot of my squads, and I really was high on him once the injury happened in their backfield. But, this week against a tough Denver defense, and he didn't do nothing last week, so he is my sit-em. Fred, who you got for your sit-em?
Mixon. I don't think he has that same week. I've had this guy on my fantasy teams for many years, and he'll light it up one week and dud the next 3 weeks. And they're playing a Chicago defense that I really like this week. Don't start Mixon. I don't see it happening.
Nick, who you got for your sit-em?
Mike Davis. I don't think he's going to do anything at all. I don't think he's going to do anything all season, as a matter of fact. But last week, Tampa Bay only gave up 60 yards on the ground. Atlanta's offensive line is not good. Last week, Mike Davis had 49 yards against Philly. And I told you guys, Philly's defense isn't good, but what's formidable about Philly's defense is their front seven. If anything, their front seven will shut down the run. He had Davis had 49 yards on 15 carries, which only comes out to be 3.3 yards per carry. So I think he will continue that mediocrity this week going into Tampa Bay.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's a tough matchup regardless. Let's move on to our receivers real quickly. My stardom this week was Keenan Allen against the Cowboys. I like the Chargers in this matchup, and I like the Cowboys in this matchup. So, again, I'm going to find a trademark saying, but that will be a fantasy bonanza game. Faux show. Stardom for you.
Brandon Cooks. He really surprised me last week. I know Houston played another weak team, but he is the focal point of the offense. And he's the only one that's going to be able to stay with Cleveland's offense. So I think it's all day they're going to throw the ball at Brandon Cooks.
Sure. Nick, who you got?
Low-hanging fruit, I got Tyreek Hill going against Kansas City because Kansas City last week, against Baltimore. He plays for Kansas City. I'm old. I forget things.
It's okay. It's okay.
And I'm a teacher with scrambled brains. Anyway, Baltimore gave up 409 passing yards last week and 2 TDs. I think that continues, even though Baltimore is at home. It just appears that Baltimore's defense isn't formidable, and when you're giving up 400 and some yards passing to the Raiders, you got to look yourself in the mirror and say, what are we doing wrong? So I think I think that's going to be big for Tyreek Hill this week.
All right, let's move on to our sit-ems. We got Calvin Ridley at Tampa. Mine was DJ Shark versus Denver. Went right back to that Jags game. Again, I see the Jags struggling against this formidable Broncos defense. So DJ Shark, a sit-em for me this week. Fred, who you got?
Calvin Ridley at Tampa. Same reason what Nick just said about Mike Davis. Their line is awful, and Tampa Bay is stout. And I think they're going to do better than last week because they did get, they gave up a lot of points last week. So I think they got to redeem themselves. So I just think it's going to be a really rough night for Atlanta.
Nick, who you got for your sit-em?
Yeah, I got Amari Cooper sit-em. I don't think look at that. I don't think, to Freddie's point there, Dallas's offense is really, really good. Anyway, Amari Cooper. Now they're going to LA. They're playing the Rams. The Rams last week only gave up 188 yards. They didn't give up any TDs, and they had 3 sacks. So, which tells me that they're going to be all over Mr. Prescott. Now, they did play the Bears.
Who did they play last week?
Whom? The Rams?
The Chargers. Who did you're talking about? What defense are you talking about?
I'm talking about the Rams defense.
Yeah, so who do they play? The Bears, right? With Andy Dalton?
Yes. Right.
Okay.
Well, I was getting to that, but you had interrupted me, like always. Now, they did play the Bears, but Dallas will put up more numbers, but I think because Amari Cooper is going up against Jalen Ramsey, he's not going to get too much looks because he is going to be shadowed, and I look for Lamb to have a more productive game.
Okay, so just to be clear, I just want to make sure we're clear. No, it's okay. I'm sorry. I do just got to kind of school you a little bit, teacher. The Cowboys are playing the LA Chargers, not the Rams. And with that, we're taking it to break.
Hey guys, it's Mitch Lopez, your local Farmers Insurance agent. As hurricane season approaches, is your homeowner's insurance going to make the cut? Are they charging you more for your renewal, or even worse, canceling you? If so, I think it's time to put your insurance company on the bench and make Mitch Lopez Farmers Insurance your number one pick for all of your insurance needs. You can reach me at 407-603-7366, or you can follow me on Facebook at Farmers Insurance, Mitch Lopez, IG, Mitch Lopez _ Farmers Agency, or you can check my website at Farmers Insurance Mitchell Lopez Jr.
Hey, no problem. Because everything I said about Amari Cooper, just throw it out on Michael Pittman Jr. Michael Pittman, yeah.
Is that right?
He was waiting as soon as the commercial came up. Hey!
I had to repeat myself, damn it.
All right. Let's we're running out of time, so we'll skip our tight ends. I'll bring it up on TSS.
Hockenson.
Wake up with TSS morning. We'll bring it up on Sunday morning. Let's talk about these games. We got Raiders at Steelers. Let's bring that one up real quick. Who do you guys like in this particular matchup? Anyone? I talked about Najee Harris earlier. I do like him. I mean, generally speaking, I like the Steelers defense. I like everything. I actually have Steelers number one ranked this week because, again, I just see the Raiders doing what the Raiders do and just coming in and just looking awful. And unfortunately, I didn't take my own advice and started the Redskins last night. Like I'm a dumbass. All right, so Fred, who you like in this game? Anyone in particular, or any sleepers you like?
I think the Raiders, they did good against the Ravens, and I like the Ravens defense. They might give the Steelers a little bit run for their money, so I'm kind of intrigued about this game. I really want to watch it.
Awesome. Nick, for you, I know it's your team, so who, but anything other than that?
I'm gonna go with the big boy back there, number 7. I think he comes back. I think Roethlisberger's got a big game this week, given the fact of the Raiders' not so good defense. So I'll take Big Ben coming back. Give the home crowd something to cheer about.
Yeah, I
know
about
you don't agree.
man. No, it's not that I don't agree. I just, Ben is kind of Ben right now. I just seen him leaning more to Najee. He was involved in all of their offense last week, so I just think he's going to have a great game this week. Where do I got Ben? Let's see. I got Ben ranked 27th this week. You got Ben Roethlisberger ranked 20th is where you got him. So, looking at your stats, I don't know how confident you are with Ben ranked number 20.
That is a 19th. That is a 19-way tie for second place.
Oh my! It didn't indicate it there, so we weren't sure. All right, let's move on to your other team. Actually, the San Francisco 49ers against the Eagles. The Eagles really look good. I was really impressed with them last week. They really, again, we talked about, fantasy bonanza in that game because I saw both defenses just being awful. And it turned out quite the opposite, where it was just one defense was awful. And the Eagles, they just looked like they were all over the place. Now, I don't know if that's their defense combined with Atlanta's offense, or if it was just one or the other. But it was pretty impressive. I was very impressed by them. I was also impressed with Devonta Smith. He came out right off the jump. I talked about it on Wake Up with TSS, and then I didn't take my own advice. We talked about that to death, so we don't need to talk about it anymore. But I was impressed with him. Jalen Hurts was looking for him, and often. So somebody to look for, Jalen Hurts in this game as well. And what are the Niners going to do? That's my question. I don't know if I'd start any of their quarterbacks, only because, who knows, what game flow is going to dictate for them. Very strange. You just really don't know what's coming out. So again, with the running backs too, is it Trey Sermon? Is it Mitchell? We don't know. So I wouldn't look too high on either of them just because we don't know yet, and let things settle. Then you can start one of those guys. Fred, anybody you like in this matchup?
I can't believe we're going to talk about the Eagles for this long. The Eagles look good. I don't see it happening again. 49ers got a good defense. I would like to see the Eagles win, but I don't think it's going to happen. 49ers going to win the game.
49ers, yeah, we're not predicting the game, but all right, we want to know who you like in fantasy. We're in we're a fantasy podcast.
Okay, my bad. Nobody. Nobody from either team. They're terrible in fantasy.
No, I like Jalen. I think Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith.
It doesn't happen again.
Nick, what are your thoughts on your other team?
Well, contrary to Freddie's no thoughts, I have lots of thoughts. Let me start.
That's why I kept mine short.
Okay, all right. I just want to see. There's many things about, but we're short on time. So I want to see how the Eagles secondary does, because to see if they get tested this week, to see if they can pass the test. And I also want to see if Devonta Smith and then Jalen Reagor, if they're going to have big games. They should have big games because, like I said, both the starting corners for San Fran are out. So you're playing against a depleted secondary, a West Coast team coming east, early game. Surprisingly, though, San Fran's getting 3. But I'm going to take Philly all day.
Do you know that San Fran stood on the East Coast they don't have to go back and forth? They stood all week on the East Coast.
Oh, that could be.
This game is not going to be a fantasy bonanza, peanut, nothing.
In the words of The Rock, it doesn't matter what you say.
I don't really believe in the Niners, to be quite frank with you. It's just like I don't see. I don't know. I just don't see it. A lot of people see it. I don't see it with them. Look, they struggled with the Lions last week. I don't see them, coming out being gangbusters against this Eagle team. So I think it's a good game either way. Speaking of Devonta Smith, you have him ranked 16th, and I have him 18th this week. So since we were talking about him. All right, let's move on to our next matchup, and we will talk about Texans and the Browns. And I know last week when I was like the Texans-Jags game, and it was, as we used to say, it was Fred's snore of the week. Ain't nobody wanted to watch that game for no reason, but wow, Tyrod Taylor came out. Like you mentioned earlier, Nick, every single running back scored for them. So great game by Houston, and maybe, putting them as the number one pick next year could be wrong and maybe a little too early. And the Cleveland Browns, great game. Unfortunately, played the damn Chiefs. I mean, what else can you do? I was watching that game. I had vested interest in it. And look, I'm watching Pat Mahomes. Early, it was a little bit of a struggle, but it seemed like in the second half, they just had it figured out. And it was just it was just motion. I mean, everything was just pretty. Boom, boom. That pass to Tyreek Hill, that's what you play in. You do that on the playground. Run around, wing it up. Homeboy comes and catches it and then goes. I mean, it's unreal. We're watching it on the NFL field. So anyway, not to get too much on the Chiefs. The Browns, though, executed well. Chubb had a great game. Kareem Hunt had a great game. No OBJ, as we talked about, but they don't really need him, right? With that offense, Jarvis Landry, they got a few people they can throw to. So anyway, in this matchup, I like Nick Chubb a lot. I like Kareem Hunt a lot this game as well. I think this is the, get right game for the Browns. Going to be at home in the dog pound with Houston. That was great game last week. But I'm sorry, reality comes home in Cleveland this week, and they're going to get romped on. And I would definitely start Cleveland's defense if you had it as well. Fred, who you like in this game?
Totally agree. I think a lot of the pretenders from last week, the Eagles and the Texans, I think it all comes back to bite them this week. The Texans are not going to be able to keep up with Cleveland. Cleveland was keeping up with Kansas City, just like you said. That's why I said Brandon Cooks is a must start. They must throw the ball. They have to keep up. That weak running game is not going to do anything for the Texans.
No, yeah. I mean, it wasn't like they were really doing much with the running game, but they were doing it in effective spots is pretty much it. But yeah, Nick, what are your thoughts on the game?
Well, I don't know about you guys, but Jacksonville does not pass the eyeball test for me as far as their defense. I think Tyrod this week is going to be wearing brown a lot this week. I think he's going to be on the ground a lot. Speaking of the ground game, I have vested interest. I have Kareem Hunt on my team. I need a big game from him, which I think he will produce. And also I need a big game from the Browns defense. And the Browns are favored by 13. So I'm going to stick with that. And I'm going to go with the Brownies.
All right. Again, we're not predicting the game. We're talking about who we like in fantasy.
Well, he doesn't like Tyrod Taylor. So.
Right.
Apparently. I have Nick Chubb this week as my number one running back. I think he is going to go wild against Houston at home. And Kareem Hunt, I have 15th only because I feel like Nick Chubb is really going to have a big game against Houston. I think last year's, I think that when that guy Dan Mater came on, he talked about how Chubb towards the end of the year last year really took over that touchdown role, if you will, and it looked like he was right back again this year. Nick, do you have something you want to add? Or is this moving the camera?
I was moving the camera, but I'll take you up on your offer. I have Hunt at 16.
Okay, gotcha. I didn't know I was offering anything. All right. All right. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to be talking about the Broncos and Jags. Be right back.
Hi, this is Freddie the Jester from TSS Fantasy. As you know, I am a jokester. But one of the things I'm serious about is the health of my car. When my car is not working properly, I take it to the Auto Clinic in St. Cloud, Florida. Anytime my brakes or AC needs to be repaired or I just need general maintenance, I take it directly to the Auto Clinic, where they take care of all my auto needs. They are a complete auto repair shop. If you need repairs done to your vehicle, the Auto Clinic is the place. They can be found at 1524 13th Street, St. Cloud, Florida, 34769, and you can call them at 407-892-8104 to schedule an appointment. You can trust the folks at Auto Clinic like you can trust I'm about to have another snack break.
Snack break?
At least it's consistent.
Hey, you didn't bring anything back from Honduras, like for a Honduras snack?
No, man, I'm good.
Well, there's plantains down there.
Yeah,
I ate a lot of plantains, bro.
A lot of mango.
All right, let's go on to the Broncos and Jaguars. And I'll just start by saying if you have the Broncos defense, you better be starting them this game with 3 interceptions last game, by the Houston Texans defense that no one really thought much of going against this vaunted Broncos defense. So, again, don't see a good day for this Jaguars offense. However, what the hell will I know? And it'll probably end up being the Jaguars 50-0. But on the Broncos side, Teddy Bridgewater has played well. And this, like you mentioned earlier, Nick, this Jaguars defense doesn't pass the eye test, so to speak. So, I think Teddy Bridgewater have a decent day. Noah Fant, decent day. You mentioned Melvin Gordon, it could be Javonte Williams' day. They're almost in that 49ers backfield conundrum where you're not sure which one to plug in. So it could be either one of those guys having a big day against the Jags. Fred, who you like in this game, and not by team? Who do you like fantasy?
I don't like really anybody. The only one I do like is just like you said, probably the Broncos defense. You're going against a rookie quarterback. The receivers was not there. They have a nice, solid defensive line, Denver. So, I really don't see anything but the defense in this game. So I have to agree.
Nick, your thoughts?
Again, who I like Teddy Bridgewater. I have him ranked 24th this week against that defense. I think Courtland Sutton's going to have a big game, so he might be a sleeper pick for you this week. And then, of course, Melvin Gordon I have in my stardoms. So those 3 players I'd watch, and then, of course, you can throw ancillary. You can throw in there Noah Fant.
Yeah, no, agree.
Maybe Fant. Yeah, I like Fant. That might work.
Yeah, I think he'll have a decent day. So this week I was trying to look at yours and try to see where you have Melvin Gordon since you had called him out as a stardom. You have him 25th. He's your stardom.
Well, did you see who was 44 on up?
I'm sorry.
Are you in Honduras?
Is your internet okay? All right, let's. Oh goodness! All right, let's move on. We got the Saints.
What am I going to tell you? He's touchdown dependent.
The Saints and the Panthers. Again, you brought up Jameis Winston as your starter this week, Fred. You have no rankings at all, so I guess I can't poke at you.
No internet.
So it's in Honduras. So again, Jameis Winston could have you brought him up as your stardom, could have a great day. He looks the part. Again, it's early though, so you never know. This could also be an Alvin Kamara type game, maybe an Alvin Kamara CMC back and forth type game. We never know. But I don't like Sam Darnold in this matchup. I will tell you that. Which makes me concerned about CMC this game because the Saints defense, boy, they made that Packers offense look like a bunch of chumps. And that's not easy to do. I don't care how off Aaron Rodgers is. That's not easy. So that's a good defense, and I definitely would put them in my starting lineup this week. Fred, who you like in this matchup?
I think I picked the Saints defense.
Yeah.
I think CMC is going to have a big running game, so I think he's still going to get his 15, 20 points. But I think New Orleans defense is going to get a lot of points from fumbles and interceptions from Sam Darnold. I mean, you can't. Sometimes you just cannot stop somebody, and I don't think you can stop McCaffrey. But Darnold's going to be the downfall this week. 3 interceptions. Watch.
Nice recovery, and also I noticed that you're still got feelings for Sam Darnold. All right, who you got, Nick?
Well, if you like Fred's recovery, you're going to love mine. Okay, so I have Jameis Winston at number 11 this week. I have Kamara at number 4 this week.
Ooh.
And I have their defense at number 8 this week. So obviously you can tell I am high on the Saints. The only thing that could be troubling for them is that they're basically road warriors for the first month. They're in Dallas this week to practice. They're staying in Dallas, and next week they are going home. That might be a detractor, but they'll be okay. Jason?
Oh, this guy.
Eddie.
Yeah. 8. I have Jameis ranked 8th this week. I have Kamara ranked 2, so I'm in agreement. I like the Saints big in this matchup, and again, we talked about I like their defense to make some plays against Sam Darnold this week. I think he kind of showed out for the Jets last week, to be quite frank. All right, let's go on to a good matchup here. The Rams. Now, this is the LA Rams, Nick, not the Chargers, so make sure we're clear as we go into this matchup. The Rams versus the Colts in Indianapolis. No, not the St. Louis. They're still in LA. So we, in this particular matchup, again, I talked about I'm not as Carson Wentz as my sit-em this week. Going against these tough LA Rams, and he looks shaky Pete already. So not looking good to start this season. And the LA side, Matt Stafford looked pretty darn decent. However, the Colts defense still is pretty decent as well. So I'm not sure it's going to be a great game by Stafford. But who knows what he may end up having to do if somehow, some way Carson Wentz can pull some magic out. But I see this more of a Darrell Henderson type game where they're going to rely on the run a little more, maybe some screen passes a little more. I don't see a huge day by Stafford, more on the Henderson side on that one. Nick, Nick, who do you like in this matchup?
Pretty much in agreement with you. I do like the Rams. I have Stafford, even though he had a big game, I do have him ranked a little low. I do have him ranked at 16th against the Colts defense. And as I have their defense, the Rams defense ranked 2nd. And then, again, I'm not real big on Darrell Henderson anyway, but I think he's going to have a big game. And then I think I have Cooper Kupp as my highest rated Rams receiver. And to be quite frank, I don't know where I have him, but I think he is it. And, I have him at 22nd.
Okay. So, again, I kind of been calling everybody out, so I'll call myself out. I do have Darrell Henderson at 20 this week, and I have Matt Stafford at 10. So apparently to my rankings, I think Stafford's going to have the better day. But again, we'll see how it plays out. Colts defense, again, still is pretty decent. So, yes, sir, what you got?
I've been saying this about Carson Wentz the whole time through the podcast. He is not the same guy from 2 years ago. He is not the player. He has no confidence. I don't care about Frank Reich. If they do, they have to win this game. I cannot see the Colts going 0-2. I just don't see it. It's going to be a really hard game. Jonathan Taylor has to win this game for the Colts and the Colts defense.
No, I agree. I do. I agree with you. If they're going to win this game, they're going to have to pound it out and, and keep Stafford off the field. Because I don't see Wentz being able to win a shootout with him. So, going to be interesting. All right, let's move on to the game that I will be at. The Buffalo Bills coming down to see the Miami Dolphins. And listen, I'm just going to say this. It's hot. All right, I'm going to let you know. I'm sitting outside right now. I can see the sweat glistening, and it's 9:15. So I'm letting y'all know it's hot down here. So that is going to play to our advantage a little bit. But, however, I see Josh Allen, I mentioned earlier. He's in my start. I'm going to see him having a huge game. He just dominates against the Dolphins. It's sickening to watch. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm excited to go to the game and be at the game. Last year was kind of weird with nobody around, so it's going to be fun with people in the stands and stuff, and get that feeling going again. But I don't know how much the fanfare and that feeling is going to last, quite frankly. But Tua and Jalen Waddle, they could have a nice little connection in this game because they may need to. I forget what we were talking about earlier, but need to throw to get into this game. So I think Jalen Waddle will have a decent game. I like Parker here as well. Not sure I'm really high on Tua yet, but I think he'll at least have a decent game for you if you need someone to plug in. Fred, who do you like in this matchup?
Don't like Tua. I'm going all in with Buffalo's defense. I cannot see them starting 0-2. I believe they have to win this game, so they'll both be 1-1 in the division. So I think Tua is going to have a really, really rough day tomorrow. And maybe Josh Allen goes crazy. I don't know, but I don't start Tua, but I really like Buffalo's defense.
All right. So, Nick, who do you like or don't like in this matchup?
What I do like, Josh Allen. I have him. I think I've had him ranked 10th at quarterback, and also have Diggs at ranked 7th. And I have the Bills' defense also ranked 10th. The Bills, according to rank, are going to outrank the Dolphins, but what I think is going to trip everything of that is the heat. I mean, you're from Miami. You get some serious swamp ass, and when you're from Buffalo, it ain't gonna be pretty. So I think the heat will factor into it. I think it's gonna be a tight game because if you remember, as great as Tom Brady was, I don't know what his exact record was in Miami, but I think he had a losing record whenever he came down to Miami. So again, I think the heat is going to factor into the game. But as far as stats and ranks and all that fun stuff, I think the Bills are going to have a better stat-wise game than the Dolphins.
Yeah, just going back to a favorite phrase of mine, game flow is really going to dictate the winner of this game. Whoever is able to establish that run, establish time possession, and doing big drives, they're going to be the ones to finish out and win this ball game. All right, let's go on, and I fucking hope it's us. All right, let's go on to our next matchup, the Patriots versus the Jets. Suck. This is going to be an interesting one, to say the least. I'm interested to see how Mac Jones comes out against this Jets defense. Not like they're crazy good or anything, but he was very efficient last week. And I will say, we blitz a lot. The Dolphins like to blitz. And I sat there and watched the Patriots pick up every damn one of them. And it was very impressive what I saw. And Mac Jones was also very impressive. Very cool and collected under the pocket. And again, with the Jets, again, Zach Wilson, rookie. You know what Bill Belichick does to the rookie quarterbacks. I just don't see it being a big day for the Jets offense. And I do see some decent potential out of Damian Harris if Belichick lets him run the football, because who knows after that fumble late if they're going to even have him run the football. So I'm cautiously optimistic on Damian Harris. But, I think, Nick, I noticed in one of our leagues you dropped Stevenson, which I think was a mistake because of the fumble late. I was actually putting in a claim for him because I'm like, he fumbled as well, but, you got two guys fumbling, who's he going to go to? Maybe he goes with the rookie, who knows? You never know with Bill Belichick. So something at least to watch out for. Fred, anyone you like in this matchup other than your sucky team?
The Jets! The Jets! I mean, look, it's two rookie quarterbacks, Mac Jones, Zach Wilson. I think Zach Wilson is better, but New England has a better team. I think they keep it close. Fantasy-wise, I won't start anybody. Maybe Corey Davis. That's the one I would start because he is the main target for Zach Wilson. That's really it.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. He could have a decent game. Nick, who you got?
Pretty much what Freddie says. I don't have Zach Wilson in my top 30. He probably would be like 31, 32. I got Mac Jones at 30. Okay. The highest ranked receiver I have in this game is Jacoby Myers at 32. this to me, this is going to be a snore of the week. I'm not interested in the game at all. Don't give me that face, Fred. You know it's true. You know it's true.
Fantasy wise, you're exactly correct.
This might be ugly.
This is definitely what we call Fred's snore of the week. Indeed. All right. Let's take a quick commercial, and we'll be right back. We're going to come in with the Bengals and the Bears. Ooh, booyah.
Hey, Flander fans. This is Nick, You Got Flander from TSSFantasy.com. Do you ever find yourself needing financial help and don't know where to turn, and you live in the New York area? Well, Shelton Financial Management, LLC is your answer because they do all of the following: audits, reviews, and in addition to bookkeeping, business consulting, tax prep, and much more, they do it all. To contact them for your financial business needs, you can find Shelton Financial Management, LLC right here on Facebook or directly at the following number: 585-376-0574, and on the web at SheltonFinancialManagementLLC.com. Shelton Financial Management LLC is our number one pick for our financial needs.
I want to make sure we don't rush through the rest of them. So let's go Bengals Bears. Interesting matchup to say the least. Jamar Chase could have a good game, and depending on if they let Justin Fields play or not. But you know who's been very impressive to me as well is David Montgomery. I like him a lot against this Bengals defense, that's not all that great, although played decent against the Vikings last week. But Dalvin Cook still had a good game. Fred, who you like in this matchup?
Bengals versus Bears. Bears defense. I don't like anybody on the Bears, and the Bengals. I'm not. Well, let me say Joe Burrow. No. I like the Bears defense. So, no, I don't like anybody but the Bears defense. That's basically it. I think it's kind of a boring game, to be tell you the truth.
What wonderful analysis! This is why you're here, sir. Nick,
hey, you caught me with my Honduran banana.
See, I knew it. You're gonna bring something into this country. I just know it. All right, Nick, who you got?
Yeah, he's gonna bring Corona. This is gonna be for me personally. I think this is gonna be the Robinson Montgomery show. I think Allen Robinson's gonna have a big game, especially for PPR purposes. I'm also expecting to see. If I were you, I wouldn't start either of the Bears quarterbacks because I'm gonna believe Dalton's going to start, but you're going to see these little quote unquote packages for Fields, and he's just going to come in and slowly take over. So if you have any of those, if you have, I don't know why you'd have Andy Dalton, but if you have Fields, stash him. And Montgomery, Cooper, do you have him? Do you have him right there? My rankings are kind of slow coming up.
We can pull it up.
I have him at 13th. I have him at 13th. And I'll predict he gets 2 touchdowns this week. And
he's got big potential this week. I think I got him at 14th, so I'm not too far from me as well. But big potential against that Bengals defense, which again is not all that great. All right, so we're gonna run into a few fantasy bonanzas. I gotta find a trademark name for that. All right, Vikings at Cardinals. Like, again, this is a lot of fantasy power, if you will, in this ball game. But what to make of the Cardinals defense? Was that a fluke last week? Are they that good? Did they game plan well? Can they do the same thing against this Vikings offense, which is no joke themselves? We have Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson. So this is not an easy offense to just dominate, if you will. Although, again, last week wasn't either, and they did an amazing job. So, guys, in this matchup, obviously Kyler Murray is going to be your guy. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt. Kyler Murray is the fantasy god right now. He's got to be the guy everyone should have taken. I think he's going to dominate the rest of the year. And again, I've talked about him earlier this year. I got him on all my teams now. Christian Kirk, watch out for him. Sneaky play as the number 2 receiver, establishing himself in Arizona. Fred, who are you liking this matchup?
Well, I got Kyler Murray as my quarterback in like 3 of my leagues, but the best part about it, I wouldn't start neither defense, obviously, but what I like about Arizona is that their defense is good. They can shoot it out with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if their defense has any kind of potential, man, they're going to be a really good team. But you can start any offensive player in this game, and you're going to have a good fantasy showing.
All right. Yeah, you brought it back to the fantasy. Good job. All right, Nick, who you got? Who you like in this matchup?
All right. So I have, respectively, I got Murray ranked at 3 this week, and I got Cousins at 17. Fred, I disagree with you about starting any fantasy player this week. Out of all the starters on both teams, me personally, I stay away from Chase Edmonds. To me, he hasn't done enough to show any starting relevance. Maybe a flex at that, but you're gonna start your Jeffersons, your Thielens, and your D-Hops. Other than that, that's it as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, again, this could be a really good matchup for both teams. But again, we have to see, how it plays out on the field, of course, obviously. But obviously, Kyler Murray, to me, you start him every week. He's money in the bank.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to another fantasy bonanza with the Cowboys and Chargers. Talked about this earlier, by the way. Let me pause for a second. I forgot to mention the Juice had Chase Edmonds as his stardom this week, so we're definitely going to have to get his feedback on why he thinks that is. I forgot to mention
that. That's what I was saying, yeah.
Cowboys and Chargers, again, looks like a great fantasy bonanza. If you got a guy in this matchup, go ahead and start him. It doesn't matter who they are. I'd put them in. I think both of these, this is going to be one of those fast-track games. I'm going to see a lot of points. So if you got anyone, including the kickers, I would start them. And I also like what I saw out of the tight ends for the Cowboys, by the way, too. So you have Dalton Schultz, any of the tight end. I forget the other guy's name. Sorry, it's not coming to me. Either one of them. Thank you. I would put in. I like them. I like anybody really in this matchup, even Jared Cook on the Chargers side. Fred, who you like in this matchup?
Like you said, every offensive play is good. A one-on-one is like right now. I'm concerned. I have Mike Williams and Brandon Cooks, and I'm not even sure which one to start. And as my flex, I think I want to see Mike Williams keep it up. I liked his game last week, so I'm gonna start him just to see what he can do. I really want him to have a great game.
Nick, who you got? Who you like in this matchup?
Well, obviously Keenan Allen, because Dallas's defense is terrible, and they also lost DeMarcus Lawrence, and funny enough, they also lost their defensive line coach, who also broke his leg in practice. So I think with DeMarcus Lawrence being out, I did my rankings before. I had Herbert at 8. I should put him up higher than 8, because I think he's just going to go off because they essentially aren't going to have a pass rush without DeMarcus Lawrence.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. This is going to be, like I said, this is going to be an interesting matchup. I can't wait. It's a 4:00 one too, so it's going to be fun.
Really good game.
Watch while I'm driving home. All right, the Titans and Seahawks are next. This one is interesting to say the least because of what happened last week with Derrick Henry. It ends up being a no-show because of the Cardinals putting the points up. Well, the Seahawks could potentially do the same thing. It's in Seattle, so potential to see Derrick Henry again with a shitty outcome. But hopefully that's not the case. But if it becomes that, it'd be interesting to see if this week can Ryan Tannehill answer the call. Wasn't able to do it last week. Let's see what happens this week. I saw where Vrabel was calling out Julio Jones for some things. So interesting things going on in Tennessee for sure. Fred, who you like, don't like in this matchup?
Not Julio Jones. I've been saying it all year. Julio is not Julio, man. Are you guys who fell for the facade? That's why you watch CSS Fantasy. I told you so. But I think Derrick Henry needs to run the ball at least 20 to 30 times this game. You don't want to leave it up to Tannehill, and Derrick Henry really needs to step it up this game and beat this Derrick Henry of last year.
Nick, what do you think?
I think Derrick Henry does have a big game. I say he gets back on track, but I think the guy who might play integral part in this game is Chris Carson, because I don't really believe in Tennessee's defense after the performance of Edmonds and Connor last week. So that's the guy I'd watch.
All right, well, real quick, because we're getting up against it here, Falcons and against the Bucks. We talked about this game earlier with again, we like a lot of the Bucks players. We don't like a lot of the Falcons. We think, the Bucks defense is going to kind of run roughshod on Atlanta. So I didn't want to go too much into that one. We all
totally agree.
Let's get to the Sunday night matchup, because this one's way more interesting. I want to get to that. The Chiefs and the Ravens. And this is real interesting because of the high-powered offenses on both sides and the strong supposed defense with Baltimore. It didn't really show up last week. So this is going to be a really interesting matchup. You still play Mahomes. You still play Lamar. I have some concerns, with Lamar a little bit. He wasn't looking very good, and maybe it's because he doesn't have any receivers. Could be a possibility. So there's some concern on that end, and obviously with their running back situation, who's the guy we're going to start this week? Is it Taysom Hill? Is it Latavius Murray? Devonta Freeman's been taken off the practice squad, so he might play a part as well. So again, real interesting matchup to say the least. Fred, who you like, don't like in this one?
Everybody from the Chiefs. Mark Andrews, you need to step up this week. Where were you? You're the only true help Lamar Jackson has. You just got your big contract. Play ball. Catch the ball, man.
Indeed. Nick?
In short, I like all the offensive players. I don't like the defenses at all. So if you got any offensive players in this game, play them. I stay away from the defenses. And, of course, Justin Tucker and Butker.
So would this be a fantasy bonanza for you, sir?
Most definitely fantasy bonanza.
We're gonna find some music. We're gonna do something with that. All right, we're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back. Oh shit!
Welcome to the island. Island Peppa Skincare Products. Love your skin your way. Stop by today at islandpeppaskincare.com to look at our variety of products for both men and women. Because in the islands, the pepper is always black.
The pepper is always black indeed. Now listen, guys, we appreciate you here at TSS Fantasy. Come check us out at tssfantasy.com for all of our latest stuff and our rankings. If these lazy butts would get theirs in, you'd see those too. But mine and Nick are there. And we're going to be, again, early every week. So you can look at us early for your rankings. Real quick program note, on Sunday mornings, again, 7 to 8 a.m., come on early if you need it. I'm here for you. The commission's up early because he's going to go down to Miami, so he wants to talk with you. If you got any questions, come on and let me know. Also, during the week, if you're going in your car or anything, please listen to us on Unhinged Radio. We are on every 8 a.m. Check us out in the a.m. We're here for all your fantasy fun. And if anyone feels like they need to reach out, you can reach us at TSS Fantasy, or you can come to any of our social media sites, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You want it, you got it. Fred, anything before we close out today's show?
Nope. I'll be better next week. I'm back.
Goodness, thank God. All right, Nick, anything?
Yes, we are the fantasy show of the people, and we do love our people. So keep tuning in. Tell your friends. We know what we're talking about. We're good.
Some of us do. I mean, I would say at 0-7, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. All right, we appreciate you, and we are out.
Do.
Like a chorus.
We're on a mission, guys.